maiden voyage. Not sure if I'm gonna figure this out or not. I don't even think I have the chest thingy on properly, but if we can get something to work, that'd be great. I'll move this up in a second. First I have to have my priorities though. I have to have the phone. And I need a piece of chicle. And then we'll get moving here. See if I can get you guys in a position that you can see things. I can't, but you can. Maybe. Hey, pick up your trash. So I'm at a little community pond at a place called The Cove in Harriman, Utah. And in the state of Utah, at least on the Wasatch Front here, in our county, which is Salt Lake, they do a lot of these little community ponds all over the place. I think we have 6 or 8 here in the Salt Lake Valley. And they're fun to come out and catch some little fish, usually not too big. Sometimes you get some nice fish. This particular pond is stocked with commercially farmed rainbow trout. And sometimes it's a really great place to fish. And other times it's just a pretty place to fish. I don't know if you guys can see my view. We've got part of the Oquirrh Mountains up here, up through this area. It's a place I like to hike called Yellow Fork, and we'll go there sometime. A lot of people use regular bait in here. I have some power bait, but I like lures. It was stocked the other day and they weren't biting because they were stressed. We'll see if we can get some action going. So I'll shut off here in a second, set up, and go from there. Tell you guys what I'm using. Probably can't see it out there, but I got a little torpedo-shaped bobber out on some power bait. I wasn't planning on using power bait, but somebody left a good, almost full jar of it here, laying on the ground like trash, like they do with everything else here. It's the only bad thing about these ponds and these areas around here is a lot of people can't seem to pick up the trash that they brought in with them that's lighter and easier to take out now. Not to mention there's half a dozen trash cans around this little tiny pond. But unfortunately you can't stop the gutter snipes from participating in activities as well. So we'll see if we get some kind of action on this power bait. I've never fished power bait in here before. I've used similar products. I like to use a plastic pink little crawdad made by Berkley that's scented in here. I've had a lot of luck with those. I caught 13 fish in about an hour not the other day, about 3 weeks ago, using one of those in here. And then I've used it 2 or 3 times since then in here and had no luck on it at all. So it's fishing, it's hit and miss, right? That's why they call it fishing, not catching. This is pretty close to the shore, but I've caught everything I've caught in here just about on, I think with one exception, on this end of this pond, and we'll see what happens. The water's very clear. There's a lot of stuff growing in there right now. The weather's started to really warm up. We could fish this off the bottom, but I'd have to go farther out where it's deeper and there's not as much plant matter. So I'm gonna try and reposition this and see what happens. And in the meantime, I'm gonna set up a lure and go through some different lures and see if I get any hits. Have any success. If I do, I'll let you guys know. Half hour and 40 casts since I last had this on and haven't even gotten a bite yet. So we'll see what goes on here. It's really slow action. I think it's about 9:30 in the morning. It's in the low 60s, and I'm not sure if it's just not warm enough yet, or if they fed much earlier or what. Usually this is about the time of morning that I come and fish, and I've had some pretty good success. Obviously there's a lot of variables, right? I was here with my daughter last week, and I'm pretty sure they had just stocked it because there were literally hundreds of trout swimming along the edges, looking pretty stressed and confused. So they had either stocked them that morning or the night before, and they were hitting nothing. There were a couple other people fishing that were using some very small flies on regular setups, and they were hitting a couple here and there, really, really tiny rainbows, and I think a couple bluegill. But I'm fairly certain those were fish that were already in here. I had come a couple weeks before that with this particular jig that I'm using right now, and within an hour and 15 minutes I caught 13 fish. So it's hard to say sometimes, and I think the fish that I caught were leftovers from the winter. They're probably pretty hungry. I don't know how dormant they stay. I don't know much about the life cycles of some of these fish, but this pond, like a lot of the other ones here in the valley, froze over. It's just not, even though we're in the valley, this one's kind of higher up. I don't know what the elevation is here. My house is a little over 4,000 feet, and I would imagine that we're 500 or 600 feet above that where we're at right now. So it gets pretty chilly. So I've changed venues now. Now I'm at a pond that we really like. It's much bigger than the other one, called, I believe it's Old Barn or Old Farm Pond. My daughter and I have caught a lot of fish in here, and my son's caught a few. The water's really low, but I know they just stocked it. I've been out here about 25 minutes. Tried about 6 different lures, and I haven't had any luck on those. That's usually what I catch most of my fish in here, is lures or a little bit of shrimp. I've got 2 kinds of power bait in the water right now. We'll see what happens. The only activity I've seen is right out in front of me. There's some really big carp, which I don't know if I'm prepared for if I caught one. They're probably 7 or 8 pounds at least. They seem to be the first thing to show us any action out here anyway. So we'll see what happens. Okay, bye.